Good morning, afternoon, or evening, ladies and gentlemen, all in crypto here, and welcome back, guys, for another daily cryptocurrency market update. Every single day at 1 p.m., we release an update similar to this one, 1 p.m. UK time, where we don't just cover the cryptocurrency markets, we cover everything happening around us and try and kind of correlate it all together and work out where our small but very significant space is heading. And we're going to be doing exactly that in this video. I really want to start. We've got a very interesting video lined up for you. We're going to be talking about what Elon Musk is currently doing. Look at how this kind of X.com and X project has been something that started back in the 90s. And actually, Elon's vision that came out recently on a podcast was that he was looking to essentially, through X, facilitate half of the world's financial transactions. Now, is this going to involve crypto? Is it not? We're going to speculate on it and talk about it. I'll probably save that, as that's quite outside of the realms of, what we try and do on a daily basis, but something very interesting and perhaps correlated till the end of the video. So stick around for that. It's a very big week for the financial markets. We covered this in yesterday's video, although because it was Sunday, I know lots of people like to take the weekends off. I think that's totally fine. I'm very used to working the weekends as crypto is a 24/7 market. But we have a colossal week ahead of us for economic data. We also have a colossal week ahead of us for company earnings. And of course, Bitcoin and crypto, or Bitcoin, I should say, has essentially just been going sideways now for nearly over a month. And it's kind of doing the exact same thing that it did over here. And I expect it to result in a similar outcome. So we are bullish on the crypto space. You guys know that we're long and strong. We're not just bullish on crypto. Part of what we do in these market updates is we look at external markets like the stock market, which we've been very accurate on, things like gold, the dollar, so on and so forth. And you've got a colossal week in terms of earnings. And it's very interesting to me, the correlation with smaller cap stocks that actually have earnings coming out this week that are at key breakout levels. Some of them have already broken out and entered what we would call a stage two basically a stage two phase, which is now an uptrending market. But it's very interesting that your smaller cap stocks are in similar positions to altcoins, which we expect to break up to the upside. Stocks are kind of showing us are leading that way. An interesting chart that I'll just really start off with showing, talking about the stock market and the correlation, and why we do what we do on this channel is because of this correlation. We know that the stock market typically, because it's the NASDAQ, we'll put it in a blue color, leads the cryptocurrency market. And you can see this has always been the case, ladies and gentlemen. It often rallies. You have points of consolidation for Bitcoin. And one reason why we think that, and just one, there are many, the cryptocurrency market is going to do well, is because we think the macro has changed and we think the stock market is very much showing this to us. And we've done lots and lots of analysis, so much analysis, guys, and we've been pretty damn spot on. For example, Microsoft reached our target. And actually, what bear market are you looking at here, guys? The bear market is living rent-free in many people's heads at this point. Crypto is just lagging behind. But I want to talk about the correlation between smaller cap stocks and the cryptocurrency market in this one. And then we'll talk about a little bit of macro news. Very interesting how Henry Kissinger went to China. And actually, you've got the next major financial crisis is likely going to be debt-related. And is likely going to be global. Anybody that's read The Economic Hitman will know all about this. And anybody that understands how really the IMF works and kind of the debt bond dollar system works will understand that actually this is a ticking time bomb. And Bitcoin has never been, I've always said it's like divine intervention that Bitcoin came around. So we'll start things off with a little bit of TA, a little bit of charting. Look at the week ahead because I'd like to sort of make sure everyone's aware of this and knows what to expect. It's going to be a volatile week. Bitcoin likely seeing a bit of downside this morning, given the volatility of the week ahead and people covering positions. Futures market is up, dollars kind of up slightly, but running into that resistance level, which is also very interesting. You've got Fed meeting, you've got ECB meeting, you've got Bank of Japan meeting, you've got PMIs, you've got GDPs. It's going to be a nuts week on top of all the company earnings. And then we're going to talk about Elon Musk, and we're going to look at this journey. The X era has begun at Twitter. Elon says the bird logo will be replaced by an X. For Musk, it's continuation of a 25-year journey. Here's a brief history. We'll look at the history of this. Of course, he is looking to rebrand Twitter to X. And then we'll actually talk about, he was recently on a podcast talking about how he wants X to carry half of the world's transactions. I'm not convinced that Elon Musk is this savior that everybody paints him out to be. or this kind of free speech, sovereignty for human beings individual. I'm not convinced that he is that. Certainly on the face of it, he seems that he is that. I think he's done a great thing for Twitter. He did recently employ someone from the World Economic Forum to be, I can't remember, one of the head honchos at Twitter, which is kind of counterintuitive to a lot of the things that he says. But we'll discuss it all. So let's get things rocking and rolling, guys. As it is Monday, I don't want to keep you for too long. Bitcoin, crypto, what's been going on? Well, ultimately, we assess that we are now in a bull market. We've used the stock market as a barometer for a lot of things. And again, I found this very interesting. Look at the NASDAQ and the correlation between Bitcoin. Stocks lead the market, and you can see that here with the stock market having bottomed out before, certainly the S&P, Bitcoin. And ultimately, we are expecting continuation, and we think stock market is leading the way. We've used Microsoft as a kind of poster child for what we think is to come. Right now, crypto is very much just being in a range, and you're kind of drifting to the downside, potentially in like a bull flag fashion. We did assess that this was indeed a bull flag. This gives you targets at around about $43,000, which is in a similar scenario, or which is a similar kind of target to our inverse head and shoulders. So we are very much long and strong. The cryptocurrency market, we've covered macro, micro, and everything in between. I think today, I actually think this is going to be a positive week, believe it or not. We saw a nice little spike for Bitcoin. It got slapped down instantly. This is just a range. You're at the lower end of the range. I think maybe what you need is a bit of a, not capitulation, but a bit of a downside stab, just like you got over here. Very, very common in order to get people short. Everyone will go, we've broken the trend. All the retail sort of traditional technical LARPs will get on board with that, only to get wrecked and get the money taken from them and for it to send to the upside. And remember, Bitcoin's consolidating around this 30K level. It's not really done a lot, despite the kind of ETF news and everything going on with that. But that will all come into effect. If we look at Bitcoin, it's very interesting that the largest holders of MicroStrategy are BlackRock, Vanguard Group, Fidelity. The largest financial institutions in the entire world own MicroStrategy and are some of the largest holders of it. What does that tell you? That they want Bitcoin exposure. Also, Riot was recently bought. Was it Fidelity or Vanguard bought not Vanguard, Fidelity or, I can't remember. One of the big boys, $7 trillion under management, actually bought a 10% stake in Riot, which is a Bitcoin miner, one of the largest ones. Everyone's positioned for Bitcoin exposure. They're not doing that because they're short. Ties in with our kind of overall analysis. This is going to be a massive week in regards to PMIs, in regards to rate decisions. We've got the rate decision from the Fed on Wednesday. They're set to 25 basis points. I think there's a little bit of kind of central bank battles going on here with that. We think inflation is pretty much a slain monster at this point. It may come back, but we'll see. And anybody that disagrees with that, just go and look at CPI, go and look at true inflation. We've been very much ahead of the curve on all this. And then we've got things like US GDP. We've got the ECB rate decision. Lots and lots of things going on. And just looking at a bit of cross-market analysis right now, the futures market for stocks is currently green, but that can change. Gold is having a bit of a green day. We assess gold's in a bull flag and going to see upside. Also, stock market, we think it's upside, and we've looked at the pairs with Bitcoin, and we think actually Bitcoin's in an uptrend against these, so it's going to outperform them in terms of percentages, and they're going to be doing well, so it's going to be doing better than them. Looking at Zidala, you've had support that now may have flipped as resistance. We'd like to see this. And actually, you could be getting that. Get this EMA to come in, you sort of kiss it, and then you see and you look for that further downside. This structure here, and it was covered by Francis Hunt, could give you targets to the sort of 98 region for the Dixie. Not sure about this being an inverse head and shoulders or a head and shoulders, but we do think this sees downside, and ultimately there could be confirmation of that with all the news coming out this week, kind of final hike perhaps, or maybe they do another 25 and signal that. We'll see. They're going to have to continue to beat their chest in regards to inflation because they don't want to kind of take their foot off the gas just yet. Looking at company earnings, we've got the likes, when we've looked at some of these, actually, funnily enough, we've got so many earnings coming out on Tuesday: Alphabet, Microsoft, Snapchat. We actually said that we like the look of Snapchat. And this is the interesting thing with a lot of what these smaller caps are showing us. They're in the same place as our cryptos. This could have broken out, in fact. Might come back for a retest, but then see that continuation. This is in the same place as Let's just pick a random crypto. Let's use Solana, which everyone to their disgust was peed off that we said actually this is going to do well in terms of price. We don't care fundamentally. We know it's pumped up by VCs and Sam Economics, and Sam Bankman-Fried's a complete scumbag and a disgrace. But from a chart point of view, this looks good, and it looks very similar to lots of the kind of smaller cap stocks out there, which all points in the same direction that we have. And we've actually addressed a load of stocks, which if you want to come join the community, you can get long. We don't just provide opportunities in the crypto space, we also provide opportunities when we assess that they're there in the stock market. So we've got the likes of Snapchat, you've got things like Meta, Coca-Cola, some really interesting ones actually. Visa, which I hadn't looked at. Again, talking about a bear near all-time highs for stocks, and you've been bearish throughout all of this. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. And crypto is a very small part of the kind of macroeconomic arm. You've got lots of stocks coming out. We've got Coca-Cola, which we can take a quick look at. I'd assume Coca-Cola is actually not doing that badly. Yeah, I mean, this hasn't even really gone through. Interesting, much of a structure, but it's very interesting to me that you have a lot of stocks in the same kind of place, smaller cap stocks in the same place as the cryptocurrency market, and looking like they want to break to the upside. And that's exactly where altcoins, and really a good analogy of this is, Roku, for example, is one that we've looked at and assessed. This looks good. This looks like it wants to break out. Looks very similar to lots of our cryptos, doesn't it? And these are smaller cap stocks that get led by larger cap stocks, and they kind of point the direction. Same with Bitcoin and altcoins. It looks very similar to our crypto space, doesn't it? So we think it's a bright time ahead of us. We think you are now in a bull market. Certainly for Bitcoin and crypto, and the bulk of that is still to come. And we've assessed that for the stock market and everything in between. We'll leave this macroeconomic stuff perhaps to another video. I do want to talk about what's going on perhaps with Henry Kissinger's visit and the kind of debt market as a whole. This is very interesting, looking at actual energy, looking at how much of it is renewable, even though there's a massive push for it. We've still got a hell of a long way to go. Let's talk about X. Now, Elon Musk is rebranding Twitter to X. And this is interesting because the journey for X has been a long-term one. Now, I'm not convinced that Elon Musk is this savior that everyone paints him out to be. I'm not sure they'd have let him get as far as he has and have as much of a platform and power as he has without being on board with them. And one thing that you'll find in this world is that they create your heroes and villains for you. And he may, in my opinion, this is just an opinion, I could be totally wrong, and I'm not doing myself any favors by saying this. I have no 100% evidence for it, but he may be a kind of hero that's being given to you. Even though some of the things that he does, I think, are a little bit contradictory. Certainly in regards to going ahead and hiring one of the World Economic Forum, a World Economic Forum sort of graduate to sort of head Twitter. So the X era has begun at Twitter. Elon Musk says the bird logo will be replaced by an X. For Musk, it's a continuation of a story that began 25 years ago. Here's a brief history of that. So, and soon we shall bid a bye to the Twitter brand and gradually all the birds. I don't know why. I really like the Twitter brand, by the way, but hey ho. So let's go back to 1999. After selling his first company, Musk set out to disrupt banking, and the X identity was born. But its time as a standalone brand would be short-lived. Instead, X became part of another brand. X became part of PayPal, and PayPal was acquired by eBay. Musk walked away with $165 million. He then started building again, and the letter X would reappear. Musk would launch Space Exploration Technology Corporation. It would become known as SpaceX. Worth nothing, SpaceX logo has a hidden message. The X symbolizes a rocket trajectory. Musk also used X at Tesla. It's the name of Tesla's third model. Musk envisioned a car lineup with models that spelled out sexy. Interesting. There's a Model S and X and Y. Ford had the rights to the Model E. So instead of opting for 3, which is basically a backwards E, X is even the name of his young son. Meanwhile, you likely saw all of the headlines leading up to this development, from branding Twitter as X Corp to the recent launch of XAI. In other words, wheels were already in motion for the new era. Very, very interesting. And actually, here is a clip talking about X and what he envisions for it.
Essentially, if done right, the X would serve people's financial needs to such a degree that over time it would become, I don't know, maybe half of the global financial system.
Wow.
Or some big number.
Okay.
I'm not sure what the number is, but pretty big. So it would be by far the biggest sort of financial institution. But like I said, not really in the way that people are used to thinking about banks.
Mm-hmm.
Just the most efficient database for the thing that is money. Like I said, like least amount of fraud. Everything's real time. And if it involves money in any way, it can be dealt with seamlessly on one location.
Very interesting, isn't it? I mean, what do you make of that? Is he going to use crypto in some way? Perhaps. I think blockchain is going to be used in all the financial systems from here on out, for the simple reason that it's more efficient, and it's totally innovating the entire space, the entire financial sector, and undoubtedly. And I think Elon Musk is already very crypto friendly. We've seen his involvement with Dogecoin. Maybe Dogecoin even gets a bit on the back end of this. Undoubtedly crypto is going to play a role in this, but I believe it was one of the Rockefellers that said, I care not who the president or politicians are of a country, only who controls the money. And then I can control everything from that. So take from that what you will. On that note, I'm going to love and leave you. Maybe I should just stick to crypto and stop commenting on these kind of things. Bitcoin continuing to drift off. Again, I think it's very probable that you get a final stab down like this before you see that upside continuation. But we do suspect that upside continuation is coming. We'll see how the stock market opens today. There is a bit of a word of caution with stocks, because they are at high points. They've had look at this run, right? Are there any bears left at this point? I mean, come on, This is Apple. This has been a spectacular run. You're gonna have rest periods here, and you may be approaching one at some point. Maybe earnings kicks that off. Microsoft again. Beautifully hit our target for it. We like the look of Coinbase as well, and we like the look of many smaller kind of stocks out there. So we'll see. It's very interesting where all these stocks are at and how they look like altcoins, basically. And they're kind of, there's a revitalization going on here. Come find out more about stage analysis, what we do, and what we teach people in the Patreon. On that note, I'm going to love and leave you. Remember, it's going to be a pretty explosive week. Expect 25 basis points from the Fed. ECB also expected to do a similar thing. Lots of PMIs coming out today. We'll get news on that and report on it probably tomorrow. On that note, I'm going to love and leave you. Let me know your thoughts on Elon Musk and what he's doing with X, whether you're on board with it, whether you're not, and everything in between that we've discussed on this channel. That's what the comment section is there for. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. See you in the next one.